Hi, everyone. I am going to talk about today why your social media may not be working. And I'm speaking specifically to business owners or to someone that is trying to promote something online. And I'm going to be telling you about, what's going on. Like, why is it not working for you if you've spent some money, you've been spending time on it, maybe you bought some package, you hired some marketing person to do something for you. You contributed in some way to get things going, but it seems like nothing's working. And so I'm going to talk about the 4 C's of online marketing that you need to be using all together. It's not a do this or that, it's do this and that, otherwise it won't work. So I'm going to talk about the 4 C's of online marketing that you're going to need. And I'm also going to talk about social media being like real estate and how you need to care for it like it's real estate. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's get started with the 4 C's, okay? And what I'm going to share with you, this is like timeless information. It doesn't matter what's happening in social media and the changes that are happening, because there's always changes happening. I know, for instance, if you've been buying ads, you'll see that things like algorithms change and different policies change for Facebook, and policies change for LinkedIn, and policies change for different kinds of social media channels. Some people like Instagram, and some people like LinkedIn, and some people like Pinterest. What I'm about to share with you is good on all of those channels. It'll work on all of those all at once, okay? So you don't have to worry about, oh, this is going to be outdated. This is kind of like, those pieces of clothing that you buy that are the timeless pieces of clothing, classic pieces of clothing that you can add to build a wardrobe, the stuff that never goes out of style. That's what this is about. This is the stuff that never goes out of style. I started using this kind of information years ago. Actually, when social media was brand new, I was one of the earliest adopters and kind of like a guru of social media. In my city, I was going out talking to business owners about why they needed to get onto social media way back in like 2010. And I remember being in boardrooms filled with executives from oil companies and them looking at me and going, oh, little lady, that's going to be gone. That's just a fad. It's not anything that we need to worry about. And sure enough, it was something that they needed to worry about. And it's something that companies of all kinds needed to worry about and still do today. And many things that I learned along the way, I started learning back then. They were like classic pieces of advice, classic tools, classic skills that I am continually using today, and they are kicking hiney today, just like they were way back then. Okay, so I'm talking about timeless things here. So the first piece of timeless advice I want to give you today is that you have 4 C's in online marketing. You need to learn what they are and how to use them together, and not it's one or this or one or that. It is all together. So the first one you probably have heard before. It's the one that everybody does and usually ignores the rest. Okay. The first one I think is obvious. It's that content piece, right? And usually when you go hire a social media person to do your social media for you, the first thing that they will do is they'll start creating lots of pretty pictures, lots of content. Maybe they're writing statements for you and posting them on your Facebook page, or putting it through Twitter, or making pretty pictures that go onto Instagram or Pinterest. Maybe they're doing things like sticking quotes and different things like this up and posting them with beautiful pictures. Maybe they're doing videos for you. This would be the same information. The same thing would work on YouTube. It doesn't matter what the channel is, or if you're using one channel or 10 channels, you need content, okay? And usually social media experts, or people who call themselves experts, will focus right in on making you some great content. Problem is, this is step one, okay? And if you have made beautiful content and you've been putting out there on the internet and you're not getting sales, okay, you're not actually, the phone's not ringing, your pretty content is pretty, but it isn't working, okay? It's not enough. So I'm going to talk about why would it not be enough? I mean, beautiful pictures, great ads, buying ads, all that stuff. Why would it just work by itself? Because there are some other components. And the second one is connections. And I rarely see a social media expert focus on how many connections does their client has? And this is incredibly important because if you are making pretty pictures and you have a following on Facebook of 300 people, that's just not enough. There's nobody there to see that, okay? If you have 39 followers on Twitter, that's ridiculous, okay? Would you actually make a lot of efforts to have a beautiful ad play on a radio station that had no listeners? Of course not. The first thing you would ask your radio station if they were trying to sell you advertising, you'd say, how many listeners do you have on this channel? And what's the demographics? And who are the kind of people, that listen to this radio station? But yet we make these pretty pictures and we put them out onto the internet and we think that people should be seeing them and responding. And I can actually go visit many of your pages and clearly see you have like 200 followers. That is ridiculous. Okay, it's just not a real thing. Nobody is going to respond from that because there's not enough people. It's like you're shouting a message into an empty room. So you need to actually have lots of connections, and your ongoing strategy for all forms of social media has to be increase the number of connections. And it doesn't matter what else you're doing, whether you're making the pretty pictures or you're sending a message one at a time to people on Facebook or LinkedIn. Someone's got to receive that on the other end. And if you don't have enough connections, that right there is going to limit your ability to get any message out because there's just nobody there to hear it, okay? So you have to have a strategy to increase connections. And you need to work at that on an ongoing basis. It has to be happening on every social channel that you're on. So if you are using Facebook and you're using LinkedIn and you're using Instagram, then you need to have a presence there and continuously be adding connections and have a strategy to make that happen. Okay. In our social media bootcamp, we talk more about the how-tos to get this kind of stuff done, but I'm going to give you a couple of ways. First of all, just say yes when people want to connect with you, when they are, in your target market, particularly if they're local to you. Definitely say yes. That's one thing that would increase your connections quite easily. Ask for connections, join groups where people will connect with you, and engage in conversations so that these are real people who are actually, communicating back and forth, and just continuously add to your connections. Make it a part of your daily or weekly activity. Maybe it's something to do every Thursday morning for half an hour where you just say yes to connections and reach out to some people. On LinkedIn, for example, you can send 50 connections requests a week at the time of this video. And you just send them out, do it, and make a habit of doing it every day on Thursday or whatever day of the week it is for you, so that you're always growing those connections and they're getting up there. How many do you want? Okay, this is a great question. You want to have at least 10,000. I know someone out there went, oh, what? 10,000? Oh my God. Yes, 10,000. Why? Because you're not really making a ripple in the market until you have 10,000. And I mean, just think about it. Would you hire a radio station to be running ads for you if they told you they had less than 10,000 listeners? Of course not. In fact, you'd want them to have 100,000 listeners or 1 million listeners, right? And that's true for your social media as well. But when you first see the beginning of impact, it's about 10,000. Now, I know some people will say to me, oh my goodness, well, I've only got like 1,000 on Facebook and I have 1,500 on LinkedIn. Well, all of them combined can create 10,000. It can create some of those ripple effects that you need, but you need to be growing that. So you've got 1,500 in one channel and another 1,000, you bring that up to 3,000. Grow a group. Groups are a great way to have more influence on Facebook, LinkedIn, other social media channels have groups. Grow groups. You can get a lot of people to interact in your groups and to grow as you're doing it. Hello, Peggy. I see you there. Welcome, and welcome to everybody else that's watching today. Go ahead and make a comment and ask a question too in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer that for you. And we'll see if we can help you out with some of the questions that you have. So remember, the first thing was content. Yes, you need the pretty pictures, you need the statements, you need that kind of stuff. The second one, though, is connections. And as I said, even many social media people that you would hire don't work on increasing your connections. So that's something you should ask them before you hire them, right? Yes, you're going to make me pretty content, but are you also going to work on the number of connections that I have on each of my social channels? And if they don't know how to do that, that's a problem, okay? You need somebody that knows how. By the way, our social media bootcamp teaches you how. And as when you join CIBN, you get to take it for free, and your employee can as well, okay? So if you've got an admin who doesn't know how to do this, you can just put them through our social media bootcamp, and we'll teach them how, okay, to increase connections and in a radical way. So you get up to that 10,000 at least, and then beyond, because once you have the habits in place of increasing connections, that won't be that hard. I actually added 80,000 personal connections to my own social media channels within about 6 months of just focusing in on it and doing the same repetitive tasks over and over again. So this is very achievable. I see exposure video there. Hi, hello, great to see you. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is that the third C that you need for this whole social media thing to work for you in your business, and that's consistency. I know it's a dirty word. It's like, oh, I don't want to do it consistently. Yuck. It requires work. Yeah, it requires some planning. It requires using some tools for automation. You know, you can use aggregators like Hootsuite and Sprout Social and all kinds of different things like this. You can use a tool that'll actually automate all that pretty content that you made, okay? And the tool will continue to put it out. But this is why you need to have consistency, because social media is like real estate. I want you to think about this. If you were a real estate investor and you were buying houses in your city where you live, and you were renting them out and that kind of stuff to earn, you know, additional money and to grow a passive income and all that fun stuff. And you bought a house, and you buy this house, and it's kind of close to downtown area, and there's a lot of people going by, foot traffic and that kind of stuff. You buy this nice house, and then you just abandon it. You walk away from it. You leave it there, and you don't come back for 2 years. What would happen to that house? That wouldn't be very cool at all, would it? I mean, just imagine if you just walked away from that house and you weren't looking after it in your city, grass would grow up around the house. And of course, the city would come by and probably post a thing to your door. I know in our city they do, and they fine you for not cutting your grass. Why is that? Because if your grass is growing up, then varmints move in. Okay, varmints like mice and rats and maybe bugs, because there's no care being given to the yard, and there's no care being given to the home. And when that becomes obvious to the people that are walking by, I don't know about your city, but my city has some homeless people, and they might notice that, hey, there's nobody in this house. Maybe we should take over. So you not only get varmints, you get vagrants. Double V. Okay. Varmints and vagrants move into your house when you abandon it. That's not cool. Now, I want you to think about this. You set up a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, a Twitter page, I don't know what else you use, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is that you like, right? You set these pages up. And how many of you have actually on your website added a link to those pages, or there's some button somewhere that somebody can go from your website to that social media page? Here's the thing. If they go to your Facebook page and you haven't been there in 2 years and you haven't posted anything in there, what does that look like to the person who came from your website to your social media channel? It looks like you don't care about that. You're not caring for it. It looks like abandoned real estate. Okay. It's just been left there and the grass is growing up, and they're looking at that post and they're going, looks like they made this post 2 years ago. It says 2017. Or worse, you know, and they're looking at it and they're going, well, maybe if they don't care about their social media, maybe they wouldn't care about me as a client. That's what people think when they see that. And even worse, what if a competitor had come along in that time and they wrote something nasty on your page? That's what vagrants do, right? They move in and they write graffiti all over the walls on the inside of your house. Well, this is exactly what happens to social media that's abandoned. You don't even know what's going on in that page. You haven't been there in so long that you don't know if somebody has come and said that maybe they didn't like the work you did, or maybe they wrote a derogatory comment. And it's just sitting there for everybody to see who comes into that from that time on. And you could say, well, maybe I just won't have any social media pages then. Okay, yes, you could, but then you don't get the audience and you don't get the business, you don't get the clients. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of money being left on the table here. There is a lot. In fact, in your industry, it's very likely that there are not that many people who are killing it in the social media realm. Okay, your bigger competitors maybe, but everyone that is a small to medium-sized business, they're usually getting so busy and tied up in the mundane tasks of running their business that they're not actually looking after things like their social media sites. And that is a way that you can actually show that you are different than the average, whatever it is that you are. I'm telling you, this will work for real estate agents, mortgage brokers, life insurance agents, shopkeepers, spa owners, network marketers. It doesn't matter what your business is. It doesn't matter if you're selling blinds or flooring, or if you're running a car detailing shop. I can assure you that most of the people who are your competitors in business are not looking after this, okay? They are not posting regular content. They're not being consistent, and they certainly have not built up their connections. So this is a way that you can actually get ahead of them. There is a lot of money being left on the table here in most industries because these things are being neglected by the average business owner, okay? I work with thousands of business owners every year at CIBN Connect. I'm the CEO. I see business owners every day coming and going through our networks in our online meetings, that are happening. Our online network meetings happen every week. We have thousands of visitors. I have visited their websites as they post them in the links. They often share in our meeting with each other who they are, what they do, what kind of lead they're looking for. They share their contact information. They put their websites up. And guess what I do? I click on them and I go look at the visitors that come by, thousands of them every year. I just look. And I'll tell you what I see. I see crappy websites, okay? Miserable, ugly, old websites that have not been updated. I click on a button that takes me to their Facebook page, and there has been nothing posted since 2013. And some of their competitors came by and wrote ugly statements and left them there, and they don't know. Okay, that's what I see. That's why I know this is happening, because I have seen it over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, if you want to stand out and actually take advantage in the marketplace right now, this is a great way to do it. We do it all the time in our business, and we show other members in their businesses, which are all kinds of different industries. We show them how to do this. So I'm telling you, this stuff works, okay? So first one was content. The second one, of course, was connections, right? Got to have lots of connections. And the third one was consistency. Got to have consistency. If you're not consistent, this is where it looks like abandoned real estate, and like nobody wants to be your neighbor if you got abandoned real estate. Am I telling the truth or what, right? That's pretty nasty. Okay, so, and then the fourth thing that also needs to be in place simultaneously as you're doing your online networking is, as you create messages, at least a quarter of the messages that you create should have a call to action. And that's the fourth C, incredibly important. And I cannot tell you how many beautiful pieces of content that I see on social media where there is zero call to action for anything. And then again, people are paying big money to get the content made, and then they're like, well, it's not working. Social media marketing doesn't working. No, it doesn't work if you don't do all these things together, okay? These are incredibly important to do all at the same time. So content and consistency and call to action and connections all work together. Your call to action, what should the call to action be? Well, some of it can be subtle and some of it can be really direct. I'm going to give you an example of a really direct one, okay? For years, we ran live meetings where people would actually come to a CIBN networking club and they would buy a membership. And in those days, we sold our memberships for $700 up front and $150 a month ongoing. And it provided meals, and you came to the same lunch and you had lunch with business owners every week. Well, we only at that time allowed one person per industry into each club. So one real estate agent, one mortgage broker, one lawyer, one florist, one spa owner, that kind of thing, right? And we would actually put onto social media, chiropractor wanted in networking group, South and the name of the city, right? put the phone number and say, call now before it's gone. People would call that number and we would sell them sight unseen a $700 membership right now because we said, call now, here's the number. Are you hearing me here? Strangers called in, gave us their credit card number over the phone and bought for $700 and committed to $150 a month going forward over the phone because we said call now. Hello? So you can be very direct. You can actually say, get this thing, call now, this is my number. Okay, that's a call to action. It's a very direct call to action and it works. But you shouldn't have just that kind of call to action. Some of your call to action should be like under this video, subscribe now, right? That's a call to action. And if you're watching this video right now, I would encourage you to subscribe to CIBN TV, okay? And ring the bell so that when videos like this go live, you're notified and you know what's going on and you can, watch it later as you have time, right? That's a call to action when I say subscribe. Another one is if I was on a Facebook page, I might say like this or share this or comment on this. Those are call to actions and they are also important and they train your audience to actually respond to you. And you must continuously train your audience to respond to you because if you do not, and you just continuously let them watch and don't tell them to do anything, then absolutely nothing gets done. Okay, so if I say subscribe right now, then some people are going and subscribing and welcome, glad to have you, okay? But if I say nothing, nobody will ever subscribe and the numbers don't go up. And on things like YouTube actually, the channel will continue to grow and it will eventually start to pay for itself if the numbers go up. But then that'll never happen unless you have a call to action, say, please subscribe, right? And the same thing on Facebook. If you build a group to thousands of people, you can monetize that group and you can even sell that group. But it's also an asset that's attachable to a business as you grow that group, okay? Facebook pages for businesses also have some value, although these days it's much less value than a group, okay? Group has more value, and it's because of the interaction and your ability to actually monetize it is higher than for a Facebook page that is just a business page for your business, okay? But if you don't tell people join my group as a call to action, they won't join the group. And if you don't tell people go invite 5 people to join this group right now, they won't go invite 5 people to go join the group. So these things actually can make money for your business. It's a place now where you can put your pitch out. You can sell whatever it is you're selling. Buy my membership, take my course, buy my book, join my, my email list, although you would never say it exactly like that because nobody will. It's usually take this free offer and then download the top 5 ways to make $1 million by tomorrow. Okay. I haven't written that one, by the way. But, it's something like that. It's something to get them to opt in, right? And that also is a call to action. So you see how these things work together. And you see many times people think, well, I got this down because I got pretty content. I've hired somebody to do my social media marketing. I have to tell you, most people that are out there saying that they do social media marketing are schmucks. Okay. I know I probably sound terribly judgmental, but you have to understand, I run an organization where I see thousands of business owners come through the doors every year, okay? Talk to them personally. And many times these are social media gurus, they call themselves, or social media experts, or they do social media marketing. And often as I ask them, even as I start meeting them, I will start looking up their profiles and I can see that they clearly have like 112 connections on LinkedIn. And I don't know how you could call yourself a social media marketing expert and be displaying to the world that you only have 112 connections. That is just ridiculous, okay? If I was going to take social media advice from somebody, they should have more social media connections than I do. And yes, there are people out there who have more than I do. I have thousands. well over 100,000, especially in combined channels. Okay. In fact, I think it's over 200,000 now. I haven't counted lately, but I know because I have actually gone and written them down and checked them out, and we've grown them over time, you know, and that's my personal numbers that I'm talking about. It's not just the company numbers. So you have to know what your numbers are in order to grow them. That's also a great point. You know, you should be jotting down at least every 3 months when you do your goal setting and you're working on your business. You should also be looking at, like, how many connections do I have on these channels? Where am I at? And what is my strategy to increase that? And am I working it on an ongoing basis? And if you have a VA that works for you, you know, this is a great thing to get a VA to do just a little bit of time every day so that those numbers are going up. So again, what are the 4 C's? Well, you want to have great content. That pretty stuff is worth it. Especially you want to have content that you can use and reuse. All right. And number 2, you want to have lots of connections. And number 3, you want to be very consistent with the posting. So you want to use some kind of a tool. And again, that's a great thing to get a personal virtual assistant to do for you. It's a great time saver. Another thing you want to do, the 4th one, is call to action. Okay. The call to action is incredibly important. You have to have that call to action on things, or people are just not going to do anything. And sometimes in the beginning, I know we literally handheld people to get them to do what needed to be done. If I told people I wanted them to come and watch a video, and I said, please comment on it, you know, I said, let's wait while you comment on it. Okay. So that they would actually do it, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't get done. People get busy and they get off doing their own thing. Even you have supporters, maybe their friends, their family. You say, hey, when you see me on Facebook, can you share? You know what the most people do? They just hit the like button. And that like button has such a limited value now. It's so small. You really need to get people to like, comment, and share. And the comment, to have the most value, should have a sentence length, any sentence at all. So if you're going to comment under this video today, please make a sentence. Say, hey, this was a great video. Thank you so much. You know, that's a sentence or two, right? That has much more value than just click the like button. All right. Do both and share it out into the universe. Tell people, man, that was a great video and it really helped me. So I hope that this really helps you. I'm Carrie George with CIBN Connect. You can find our website at thecibn.com. I would encourage you to come out to a networking event because that will also really help your business. And you can find those events on our event page. Happy capitalism. Have a great day. And I hope the 4 C's of online marketing were really beneficial to you today and that you got some idea about how social media can work for your business. I hope this explains something to you that you can use. Please like, comment, 1 sentence, and share, and definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already. Happy capitalism.